And at about 11:15 in the morning, church was just starting. He started shooting through the walls and windows of a 100-year-old church, murdering people. And he shot multiple rounds through the walls and windows, and he made 3 sides of the church.
Wow.
And then he started shooting through the doors, and he moved into the church and started murdering people from pew to pew.
On the Range Podcast with Rick Hogg and Mark Kelley.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of On the Range Podcast with Warhawk Tactical and Kelley Defense. I am Mark Kelley from KelleyDefense.com, and joined with me, as always, is my co-host and friend from Warhawk.com, Rick Hogg. How's it going, buddy?
Man, Mark, it's going great. Big shout-out to Recoil Magazine. We're out here at the CanCon event 2025 in South Carolina. You might hear some shooting in the background. Probably not, because it's the press. But anyway, we've got a great guest today. We've got Stephen from Gun Owners of America. He's going to tell you a fantastic story. So, Stephen, welcome to the show, buddy.
Well, thank you for having me on. It's my honor to be here, and I'm here with Gun Owners of America. You can find us at gunowners.org. Please sign up, be part of the solution. We are actually fighting right now to get the suppressors off the NFA Act altogether, along with the short barrel rifles and shotguns. And we are suing the government because they took the tax away. And in 1934, if anybody knows anything about the act originally, in 1934, the Supreme Court said that it could not be an infringement or a regulation. It could be a tax, but not a regulation. Well, with the big, beautiful bill, they took the tax away from it. So to our interpretation now, it's not a tax, it's a regulation, and shall not be infringed means exactly that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And so we are fighting the fight like you can't believe. And Palmetto State Armory, just down here, joined us in that. And they have a GOA lower receiver, stripped lower receiver with our logo on it. And if you purchase one of those, all the proceeds go directly to our lawsuit.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Wow.
So
Well,
there is that.
Yeah, we appreciate all the work you're doing with them. It's amazing. You know, a lot of folks hear about the NRA, but they don't hear about Gun Owners of America and all the work that you're doing. And it seems, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys are way out in front when it comes to the legality and the legislation that is doing what you've done already.
NRA, and I don't want to say anything.
Oh, no.
The NRA is great for training, and they do legislative action. But we have been doing it for longer than the NRA has. And we are fighting. We are the only no-compromise group out there. We're fighting harder than they are. And, again, NRA does some great things, and let them do their thing, and we're going to be the workhorse when it comes to fighting for your rights.
Well, you're doing a fantastic job. Now, you're here for another reason as well. We've been talking to you over the last couple of days, and it's an amazing story. So why don't you kind of tell the viewers and listeners about your unique opportunity when it comes to the 2A issue in itself?
So in 2017, November 5th, which was just a few days ago, was our 8th anniversary. A madman came into Sutherland Springs, Texas, and at about 11:15 in the morning, church was just starting. He started shooting through the walls and windows of a 100-year-old church, murdering people. And he shot multiple rounds through the walls and windows, and he made 3 sides of the church.
Wow.
And then he started shooting through the doors, and he moved into the church and started murdering people from pew to pew. My daughter made me aware of what was going on. I grabbed an AR-15, and when the safe door swung open, I was a pistol and rifle competitive shooter. And if you have a choice of a pistol or a rifle, always choose a rifle.
Oh, yeah.
I grabbed an AR-15, a box of ammunition, and a handful of ammo. Turned out to be 8 rounds. I didn't know it at the time. And I ran for the door, poking rounds in the magazine as I ran. And as I ran across the street, I yelled out halfway across the street, and people say, "Really, you yelled out?" And I don't know why I did. That gave away my element of surprise. I truly believe I'm a Christian, and I believe God called a demon out. Inside the church, he had just shot Julie Workman through the breast. And then he shot Chris Workman, both of them hiding under a pew. He shot Chris Workman in the back, instantly paralyzing him from the waist down. And then he was pointing his pistol at Chris when I yelled out. He dropped his rifle in the church. Why? I can't tell you that. And he came out of the church shooting at me. And when he came out of the doors, my worst nightmare was recognized. He had on Class 3 body armor and a ballistic bulletproof helmet and a shield on the helmet, so I could only see from, his nose down. And everything else was covered. And he started shooting at me. I ran behind a Dodge pickup truck. I'm not a fan of Dodge, but...
You were that day, right? Yeah.
But something about a 6.2-liter V8 Hemi
Yes, sir.
was a real comforting thing at the moment. And I came up over the hood, and he hit the truck in front of me, shattered the windshield of the Dodge Challenger behind me. It was my neighbor's. And he hit my neighbor's house also. And I put 6 out of 6 rounds on him. I didn't have any magnification or anything. I had an EOTech, and I was good with my rifle, and I built my own rifle. I used an AR-15, one of those mean, nasty guns that everybody thinks needs to be banned.
Yeah.
And I was able to put 6 rounds. I hit him in the left chest. I hit him in the abdomen. Both of them stopped by the body armor. He ran for his vehicle, which parked in the middle of the street with the driver's side door open and the engine running. He had already planned his getaway. And when he turned to his side to get into his vehicle, I was able to put one high between the plates into his side, one high in his legs. He got into the vehicle, slammed the door, and he put 2 more shots through the side window at me. I busted one across his forehead, right underneath the rim of the helmet. And he accelerated, and he was done. He accelerated. He wanted to leave, and he thought it would be over. And I ran out in the middle of the street. He was about 150 yards away. I put one through the back windshield. It went through the driver's side seat and hit him right at the left shoulder blade as he topped the hill and out of sight. I flagged down a truck that was sitting at the stop sign, had witnessed the whole thing, and he was on the phone. Actually, they put him through to dispatch, and he was talking to dispatch for the sheriff's department at the moment. And I tapped on the window and said, that guy just shot up the church, and we have to stop him. Now, if you can imagine, any sane person would have just probably jammed on the gas and left me there at the stop sign. But this is Texas we're talking about. We're not known for sanity. A little sense of duty and the right thing. And I'd never met him before in my life. His name's Johnny Langendorf. The next thing I heard were the locks come open. I crawled up in the cab of the truck with Johnny, and he accelerated and took off after him. We didn't even see the guy at the moment. We were just chasing in the direction that he ran. And it became very evident to me as we were flying down the road over 90 miles per hour, splitting cars and stuff. It became evident to me that Johnny he was in it for the fight.
Yeah.
And we run down the road. I dropped the magazine out of my rifle. I was going to check how many rounds because I didn't know how many I fired, didn't know how many I put in it.
Right.
And I dropped the magazine, and there was one on top of the magazine, one in the chamber. I had 2 rounds. And I turned and looked at him, and he had never spoken a word to me at this point. And I said, tell them, hurry, hurry. It was evident that he was giving them, every time he went past a crossroads, he'd give them where we were and still in pursuit. And I told him, I said, tell them, hurry, hurry. I have 2 rounds left. And I put the magazine back in, and we came up over the top of the hill and around a curve, and I saw it. And it was a gray SUV. It was a Ford Escape. And I said, that's it. That's him. Back windshield was shot out. I said, that's him. That's him. And I looked, and I said, if you catch him, you're going to have to put him off the road. And Johnny looked at me and said, yep, I already figured that. And I'm thinking, oh, Lord, who am I riding with? And Johnny was probably thinking, I always wanted to try a pit maneuver, But as we came up on him, he pulled off into the ditch off to the right-hand side of the road with a curve sign right in front of the vehicle, less than 2 foot from the vehicle. And I thought, man, he didn't even give himself a way out. This is going to be serious, and I got 2 rounds left. And so Johnny stopped in the street with his front bumper right alongside this guy's rear bumper. I opened the vehicle door with my left hand, and I stuck the rifle out the passenger side window, and I was going to step out, use the door as a shield, and re-engage it. But before my foot hit the pavement, he accelerated, went right over the sign. The sign flipped over the top of the vehicle and just ripped out of the ground. Flipped over the top of the vehicle. He went back up on the road, and about 3/4 of a mile up the road in the middle of the curve that the sign indicated. This time he swerved off to the left out in the field about 50 yards, and he stopped. And I told Johnny, I said, just get down below the dash. Johnny didn't have a gun or anything. I said, get below the dash and stay out of bullet fire, And I got out, and I put the rifle over the hood of a second Dodge pickup in the same day. I think Dodge ought to do something about that.
Yeah.
But and I started yelling, "Get out, get out!" And Johnny did whatever millennial would do.
Oh boy.
He got out and started live streaming to Facebook.
Oh.
I was like, seriously? But turned out I had hit him in the side. And I hit him in the legs, hit him in the side, busted one across his forehead. The other 3 went into body armor.
Yeah.
But he knew he was dying, and he turned the pistol on himself and underneath the edge of the helmet, and he shot himself, killed himself. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
26 people died. 26 of my friends, my neighbors, they died that day.
Well, this is a perfect example of how important all this stuff that we do and that you guys are doing. And I thank the Lord that you were there that day, buddy, for sure. But that's how important it is, and people need to realize that.
Yeah. And Stephen, you bring up a great point. You being, a competitive shooter, you had training underneath your belt.
Yes.
And I think it's critical that a lot of people, just because you own a firearm, doesn't mean you're going to be skilled with it. You've got to go out. You've got to seek training. You've got to train repeatedly with it, and on that day the Lord called you.
I'm gonna say I don't think you should have to be forced to take training to be able to carry a gun.
100%.
However,
100%.
However, if you are a firearms owner and if you think you would ever confront somebody like this, then you ought to be able to be proficient with it. I am a big proponent of training, and not everybody is going to do the right thing, and Uvalde proved that, where we had 400 officers that refused to go in, and they were officers, and I still don't know how they live with themselves, and that's, to me, I couldn't live with myself if I had not done that, because I would be every day when I looked at myself in the mirror, I'd be saying, "You coward! You did nothing." When,
but let's stop and let's think about this for a second. Being a competition shooter, right? God knows how many rounds you've shot in your lifetime.
Right.
The proficiency you have with your firearm, that in itself is going to bring you, in my opinion, to a different level.
it's going to bring you confidence.
If you're at the bare bones minimum, squeaking by for a quote-unquote qual, or you've never trained with your firearm, are you going to be as advantageous to go head-to-head with danger?
Yeah.
So I think that's the key part is, to me, if you're a gun owner, you've got to be proficient with the firearm. How do you be proficient? You got to get out and train with it. You got to dry fire with it. You got to have a plan for what you're doing. And I think that's just the one thing. Just because I have this tool doesn't mean I can do whatever it is I need to do with it.
So somebody asked me long before this happened, because I used to go weekly, and I shot on a church pistol team. We called ourselves the Sinners. And one of our centers, it was a 5-man team. One of our centers was former Army Ranger and a San Antonio police officer. And he would train me what to do if ever confronted with body armor, or train me what he knew. And so for 3 weeks straight, he trained me what to do if ever confronted with body armor. Well, that became the most valuable training that I'd ever had that day, and I never would have thought as a plumber that I was going to need that. However, since I had been trained, and I told someone, they said, how would you know that you would ever react correctly? I said, and I knew this guy was like a 4th-degree black belt. I said, you're into martial arts, and you train, and you train, and you train with martial arts. And I said, if somebody throws a punch at you, do you think about how to block it? No, because of your training has already taught you how to block that punch. You are more likely to react properly because you have trained. And if you don't train your mind what to do, you'll do exactly what you've trained your mind, and that's nothing.
Yeah.
You know, you will not know how to handle something. So get out there, get trained. Man, it is the most fun sport in the world.
Oh, yeah.
It's like golfing, but for men.
Man, yeah.
Colonel Grossman, I love to quote from one of his books, and he said that a golf course is a willful misuse of a perfectly good rifle range.
Yeah.
He said every hobby you have in life should have a practical purpose.
Yeah.
Sure.
And there's no practical purpose for running around hitting a little white ball with a golf club.
Yeah.
You know, there's no practical. However, a rifle range or a pistol range is a good purpose.
Absolutely.
And hopefully, God willing, you will never have to engage. I didn't want this.
Yeah.
Hopefully you will never have to engage someone, but if it comes to that and you're the one that's called at the moment and you save lives, it's going to change your life.
Absolutely.
Well, you're a perfect example of why this is all we're talking about today is so important, and the training just as important, if not more. If you have a gun, you should be training with it 100%. So
Absolutely. And if you don't train with it, what's going to happen? And again, the the El Paso shooting. Everybody hears about the El Paso shooting where the guy came into the Walmart and murdered a bunch of people. Nobody knows what, because I was on the governor's roundtable board for that. There were 8 concealed carry permit holders in that Walmart that day.
Wow.
And they each got their families out of the Walmart safely, which is honorable.
Yep.
But none of them confronted the shooter. And I'm going to say that was probably because of lack of training. Lack of thinking about what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm in a Walmart, somebody starts shooting, and I want to get my family out safe, and possibly your family out safe, I'm going to tell my family, and they know to follow my orders. If anything like that happens, get out, move that way. I'm going to go confront him.
Yeah.
Don't worry about me. I'll take care of myself.
Yeah.
And my skills, I have confidence in. I'll take care of myself. You get out.
Yeah.
I don't want to worry about my family. Leave. And I'm going to go confront him, because if I'm confronting him, my family is less likely to be his target.
Yeah.
And I'll save my family and possibly your family also.
Yeah.
But you brought up a great point, Stephen, right? It's talking about having that plan. And that kind of all this stuff goes into, whether you want to call it preparation, training, whatever word you want to use. You've got to have these things in place. You can't do it the day of and expect people to understand, hey, what's up? You know, talk about, hey, the what ifs. And if you get the what ifs and then you've got the skill set underneath your belt, hey, if that evil does poke your head, then I can deal with it appropriately. But you have to have those plans in place.
Your mental is just as important as your skill training.
Yeah.
Mental preparedness, if you have never thought about what you would do, and listen to, you know, I go on several podcasts, but Active Self-Protection, you know, where they do videos and stuff. They take body cameras from police officers and stuff like that, it starts you thinking about what you should do and what you can do in that sort of situation. And when your mind starts working it out, that's really important, because and you're never going to get the same scenario as somebody else. Whoever would have thought that I would be running across the street with no shoes on?
Yeah.
And people say, really, you didn't take time to put shoes on? I say, you're lucky I had pants on.
Yeah.
They call me the Barefoot Defender. The pantsless Defender would be a little creepy.
Yeah, right,
you know?
right.
Valid
But
point.
when the shots were being fired, I knew I didn't have time to put shoes on. That was unimportant. However, getting my gun,
Yep.
I had to have.
Yeah.
Because I could not have been successful without it.
Yep.
So
Well, it's an amazing story, buddy. And say that website again for the Gun Owners of America.
go to gunowners.org. And, you know, a membership is only $25 for an annual membership.
Yeah.
Only $25 for a year, not a month, but for a year.
Yeah.
Skip a pizza. Goodness knows some of us could skip a few pizzas. Skip
that's
a
a great
pizza
point.
and sign up.
Yeah.
And it'll be the best $25 you ever spent for your children and your grandchildren's future.
That's
Awesome.
right, 100%. Anyway, folks, if you like this content, make sure you go to ontherangepodcast.com and check out the crew. We'll put a hyperlink into the Gun Owners of America in the show notes, so you can go check that out and join today. But if you join the crew, the show will continue over on the crew members page, Rick.
And for the rest of you guys, be an athlete, be dangerous, and we'll see you on the range.